A perfect scoop of ice cream is a physically fragile state of matter. At room temperature, the physics of its environment are constantly working to pull it apart and turn it back into a pool of liquid. Yet holding this volatile emulsion together is the foundation of a massive industry. This scale diagram shows the €470 billion global snacking market. Inside, a €75 billion slice belongs exclusively to ice cream. The sector is so large that conglomerates are spinning off their ice cream divisions into standalone giants, signaling a new level of specialization. Manufacturing this product at scale is a constant battle with heat transfer. It requires a precise balance of fats, sugars, and ice crystals, all strictly governed by the rules of thermodynamics. Today, those rules are being tested as factories reinvent their formulas. Engineers are now tasked with incorporating plant proteins and alternative milks into the mix, while maintaining the texture consumers expect. To understand how we pull off this €75 billion reinvention, we have to look inside the modern industrial pipeline to see how we learn to master the physics of freezing. The industrial pipeline starts with the mix. While manufacturers once relied almost exclusively on dairy fat from milk and cream, they are increasingly turning to alternative bases like oat, coconut, or almond milk. To satisfy demands for high protein and clean label ingredients, crops like almonds and peanuts are harvested on a massive agricultural scale, eventually serving as the fat and protein foundation for dairy-free recipes. These ingredients are pumped into massive stainless steel vats and heated to 80 degrees Celsius. This pasteurization process dissolves the solids and neutralizes bacteria, preparing the liquid for the most violent stage of production. The heated mix is fed into a homogenizer and forced through a set of industrial valves under a pressure of 200 bar. This pressure smashes large, irregular fat globules down to a size of just 2 to 10 microns. They emerge as uniformly tiny, tightly packed spears, creating a permanent suspension that will not separate as the product ages. This microscopic process is what creates the smooth mouthfeel found in premium ice cream, whether the base is traditional dairy or a modern plant-based formulation. With the mix engineered, the factory must freeze it, but we were manufacturing frozen desserts long before we had mechanical refrigeration to do the work. By 550 BCE, the Persians were using yakchals. These were towering mud brick domes built in the desert to manufacture and store ice. By utilizing wind catchers and overnight evaporative cooling, these structures could produce millions of ice cubes every year in a climate where temperatures rarely dropped below freezing for long. Access to ice was only half of the puzzle. The remaining piece arrived in 17th century Europe with the discovery of freezing point depression. Scientists found that adding saltpetre, potassium nitrate, to ice forces the ice to rapidly draw heat out of its surroundings. This allows liquid mixtures to congeal on demand, even when it isn't winter. Mastering this chemical interaction moved frozen desserts out of the desert and into the kitchen, turning an ancient luxury into an adaptable scientific process. In a modern factory, the mix enters a continuous freezer. It is rapidly chilled while internal blades simultaneously whip air into the liquid. Without this constant physical agitation and air incorporation, the water in the mix would freeze into a solid, impenetrable block of ice rather than a scoopable dessert. From the freezer, the semi-fluid mix is moved into storage at -18 degrees Celsius. This hardening phase locks the microscopic structure in place before the ice crystals have a chance to grow. Just before that final freeze, manufacturers add inclusions like harvested peanuts or cookie dough. These provide the complex, multi-sensory textures that have become a hallmark of 2025's premium ice cream brands. This specific choreography, rapid freezing, air whipping, and deep storage, is the only way to prevent the product from succumbing to its natural desire to separate and melt. All of this engineering results in a product we consume casually in everyday environments, far removed from the strict tolerances of the factory floor. By scaling up these thermodynamic principles, the industry successfully turned a fragile, temperature-dependent luxury into a globally accessible commodity. The process has proven remarkably adaptable. Even as factories replace dairy fats with plant-based alternatives and strip away refined sugars, the underlying engineering maintains the integrity of the scoop. Every time you dig into a pint, you are consuming a product refined by centuries of agricultural and chemical study. Ice cream is a €75 billion industry built on an inherently unstable state of matter, one of the most delicious and lucrative outcomes of our mastery of thermodynamics.